So I'm looking through the service manual book right now. I'm looking for when you should change your transfer case fluid. So that's our project today. Is we're going to be replacing our fluid in our transfer case with this Mopar ATF plus 4. Now when you're replacing fluid, it's a really good idea to look through the manual to see exactly what kind of fluid you guys need. That includes oil, transmission fluid, transfer case fluid, and differential fluid. I wouldn't recommend just going out there and buying just a generic over-the-counter Walmart, the Valvolines, the Havalines, the Lucas fluids. I would really recommend using the manufacturer fluid. It's, yeah, you're gonna pay just a little bit more, but you gotta think about it, you guys. The engineers have spent millions of dollars on specific fluid and detergent mixture to make sure that your vehicle runs at its optimal performance. It's going to be much better quality and it's going to be way better for your vehicle. Okay, so that being said, I'm looking through this manual here to see, number one, what type of fluid does it take, and number two, how often should you change the transmission or the transfer case fluid in your Jeep Wrangler. So in this case, I've looked through all the way up to 150,000 miles. That's as far as it goes. And at every 30,000 miles, it's saying to just check the fluid. And nowhere does it say to actually change the fluid at 150,000 miles. Now, I'm going to tell you guys is I would change your fluid every time you change your transmission fluid, which is every 60,000 miles. But I would do it every 30,000 miles because the fluid is so cheap. Your transmission and your transfer case and differential, it's gonna last you much longer. To spend that every 30,000 miles, it's gonna save you a ton of repair work down the road as long as you guys maintain it properly. So that's a bummer. It doesn't say anything about how much and when to change it. So in the video, I'm going to show you guys how to change your transmission fluid. It's going to be like a 15-minute project. It's very quick and simple. And then I'm going to show you guys when to know when the fluid is filled up as well. All right, so let's get started. So the first thing I want to point out to you guys is that when you're putting in fluid, like I said earlier, you want to use the manufacturer recommended fluid. In this case, it's a Mopar. If you're doing a Honda, get Honda fluid, Toyota fluid, whatever that is, stick with the manufacturer. Don't go buy off the shelf at Walmart. You spend just a few bucks more. So in this case, they want you to put in ATF plus 4. Now there are different variants of the ATF, so make sure you guys use the Mopar AT4, but just again read through your owner's manual. Okay, all right guys, so for this job you're gonna need something to catch the fluid out of the transfer case. Then you're gonna need a 10mm like an Allen key, and I got a little ratchet set right here, and that's gonna fit in here perfectly. So you basically have two plugs. You got one up here, which is your fill plug, and this is your drain plug. Now before you take this drain plug out, it's always a good idea to take the fill plug out first, because if you pull this out and then you can't get this one undone for whatever reason, then you're kind of screwed because you just drained out all the fluids, but now you can't fill it up. You see what I'm saying? So always pull the drain plug or the fill plug first. Oh, there we go. Well, that's really tight. Now, the torque for these two screws is only between 10 and 25 foot-pounds. Okay, so now that I got that cracked open, I'm gonna come down here and crack the bottom one. Oh, okay, that's much better. Okay, it's gonna come gushing out of here. So I'm just gonna hold this pan up a little bit and take this drain plug out slowly. There you go. Alright, so we're going to let this drain out for about 5 minutes, and the fluid looks not too bad. It's still red, which is great. It's not brown and nasty looking, because I changed this about 25,000 miles ago. It's got just over 200,000 miles on it now. If you have any metal shavings or whatnot, it'll pick it up right here on your fill plug. I'm not sure if your fill plug is magnetic. I'm sorry, the drain plug. So what you want to do is inspect your drain plug, mine happens to have a magnetic tip on it, and now all of them have magnetic tip. This is aftermarket, so you just want to look for any type of metal shavings on here, but also the fluid that just came out. Just check the catch pan and look for any type of metal shavings, and mine looks really good, no issues. Okay, oh shoot. Now I know that some people use the nylon thread tape, but I don't use that because that could come out and go into the gears, which is, it's not a big deal. But I always use you know, these Permatex thread locker. And get all the excess off of that, and go ahead and tighten this thing up. To about 15 foot-pounds, which for me is nice and snug with one hand, and about a quarter turn. That's all you need. Let's go ahead and remove the fill plug now. All right, so because I buy my fluid in these 5-liter jugs, because it's just a lot cheaper, I've got this little manual hand pump that fits right in here, and I can just put this guy in here. Okay, kind of like this, and just start pumping. On the end of this tip here, it's got a little plastic, I don't know, it's kind of like a little plastic deal that you can just put it in there and it'll kind of hold itself in there. And what you want to do is just keep pumping, and you know you got the right fluid level once the fluid starts coming out of the fill hole. Oh, there it comes right there. All right, so it's coming out. That means it's done. Oh, where's my catch pan? And then you squeeze these little plastic tabs, and then just get it out of the way, and you're done. Let me put just a tiny bit of thread lock on here, just a dab. All right. So that's all there is to it, you guys. Okay, all right, so there you go. And then now all I gotta do is put my transfer case skid plate back on, and you're rocking and rolling. So that took about just over 2 quarts of oil and our ATF4, and so I got plenty left over for my transmission that I'm going to do next week. So if you guys want to see that, let me know down in the comments. I'll do a video on a transmission fluid change. All right, until next time, we'll see you guys on the trail. God bless, and be safe out there in the COVID world.